How are you guys this fine morning? It's Thursday and almost the middle of March. It's rollover day for a lot of contracts. I'm still on the March contract. I'll probably trade March today and roll over tomorrow. Okay, well, let's see what we got going on here. It looks like in the overnight we had a little bit of a decline after the markets had held steady for most of the day. I'm just waiting, taking a look here at a possible trend change signal. In the overnight, we had, well, not much. Like I said, they pretty much going sideways. And then just here prior to the open, we had the signal unfold very quickly right through here. Probably so fast that it would have, I didn't see this unfold, but it looks like it all developed within the space of a few seconds. Yes. So if you were rather quick, you probably had a chance to take advantage of it. Otherwise, you got another chance right here. Now it looks like we're almost manufacturing a trend change signal to the upside. We're getting an early trend change signal. I don't think I'm going to get too excited about it just yet. Looks like the stock market is actually gapping higher. The NQ dragging their heels a little bit. Maybe I'll put the E-mini up here today also. Soybeans a little bit on the quiet side. They are tailing off somewhat, but I'll show you in a moment here. The rally that we're witnessing in the E-mini. All right, here we go. I'll bring over the Falcon, the swing trader. And from where the market left off yesterday, it closed about down here somewhere. And where it opened this morning, it opened right about here somewhere. So you can see this is going to look like a rather substantial opening gap. Sometimes when the gaps are very large, like this one is, the market will have a tendency to, well, it'll either explode out of this gap and keep going, or it's going to try to come back. Either way, we should be able to produce a signal before it gets too far along. Oh, come on, NASDAQ, play nice. So you can see here we had a first micro-macro cross signal generate right about here. Had a nice little test of the extreme. Market came up, gave the signal. And now it's trying to run away. Okay, we just traded into the hard edge of the band also. Well, hopefully it's not going to end up in the trading range, but we'll see. Okay, here we go. We're getting a green bar sell off of a hard edge bounce. I'm wondering whether we're going to see more of a test of the extreme. What's that one going to cost me to be wrong? All right, if this bar retreats, well, actually, it's fairly strong now. There we go. Okay, so I was looking for a second push on this entry. So this solid bar here shows me a fair amount of upward momentum. Okay, I think in fact I'm going to roll above that high. Just because it's early, and the market is still settling in a little. Oh, come on now, knock them down. As you can see, I'm being very aggressive with my stop here. We'll see whether or not that's going to pay off for me. In the sense that if I get stopped, it's going to minimize my loss. Come on, get down there. This is on the Eagle, of course, and whenever we encounter the hard edge of the band, we should anticipate some sort of reaction. And sometimes the best thing to do is just to go through the history of your chart and take a look at similar situations. This is very similar to what we're seeing now. The market has drifted through, we get a green bar sell, the ATR is flipped over, and now we're looking for prices to hopefully head lower before they head higher. We're seeing a little bit of buying pressure here due to this trend line. It's a little early. I was hoping to get a little bit deeper. All right. Well, it was worth a try. It was only, I kept the risk down. Now the problem, of course, is, and I'm going to be making a note in my journal, should I have held my stop up here? So I got tagged here. If I had held my stop above the swing, would that have held me in the trade longer, or was it smarter to take my lumps early given what's going on here? Especially the crazy strong rally that we seem to be seeing in the stock market. It's really odd to see these two instruments at odds with each other like this. The E-mini just insanely strong. Or yes, the E-mini insanely strong, and the Dow, sorry, I'm looking at a bunch of different things, and the NASDAQ not following along. Here's crude oil giving us a sell signal right down near these lows. This is on our Falcon. It is a trend change signal, and of course it's crude, so it's going to be expensive. But we're looking at challenging these lows here. We have an opportunity for a second push on the entry. You can see we're trading off of the median line on our support and resistance line assortment. And normally, I like to see these signals touch the trend line. We have a little bit of a gap here, which is part of the reason I was waiting for the second push on this entry, because there is the possibility that the market is going to want to trade back and touch the trend line before it actually heads lower. So if this bar turns green, I'm going to cancel the trade and wait for the next signal. And again, it's one of these things that you can easily verify by going back through your chart. Looks like most of the signals have been trend line touch signals. But if you find a signal that developed away from the trend line and you see how it reacted, I'm not going to be able to find you one now. You'll see that in a lot of instances they actually trade back to the trend line before reversing. All right, so we are moving away from our signal, so I'm going to cancel that order. And we'll look for the next opportunity. Okay, so note to self, given what we were looking at this morning in the market, and what was it we were seeing? Well, we breached yesterday's low, or the overnight low, made a violent move higher. This was the chance for the sellers to recover the market and move it lower. They did not. So it was a good idea to run a tighter stop because, well, I would have got tagged for the full Monty instead of taking my hit a little bit earlier. So now we're seeing a little bit of selling pressure come back into the market. As we get back up here near these highs, oh, doggone it. I was waiting for this hawk signal and I let it get away on me. The hazards of being a moderator. I hope somebody was able to jump on that one. That was a nice little hawk signal. I was waiting for that one to finish printing. In fact, what I'm going to do is I think we're going to put a runner on. Oh, you guys, don't be like that. Oh, they skunked me here too. While I was looking the other way, I got the buy signal. Just as the trend line was flipping over. Oh, well. Okay. That's all right. There will be another signal, not to panic here. It will be showing up. It's just unfortunate. I was waiting for this hawk signal to print. And it just unfolded a little bit too quickly for me. Mary's asking about the rollovers. When you log on to your NinjaTrader, you're going to get a message saying it's rollover day. And it applies for all the stock indices, Mary. It applies for the E-mini, NASDAQ, YM, Russell. But the contract actually doesn't expire until next week. So you don't need to panic. The contract doesn't expire until next Friday. Okay. Here, Jim, I missed your post. Sorry. Jim says, Eric, that was the yellow bar buy on the Raptor that we've been talking about. I think it's this one right here, isn't it? Where it comes into the band. And look at that. Actually, the Raptor nailed that early on. Comes into the band. Normally, we anticipate to trade back to the hard edge of the band. Even that would have been a nice little trade. But look at how that unfolded. And then the Raptor comes back with the trend change signal right here. So the Raptor moving quite nicely today. Actually, they're all moving pretty well across the board. Oh, Jim says the second one, the failed short. This one right here. Okay, I'm going to have to look at that, Jim. So the failed sell off of a yellow bar. Just taking a look here to see if we had a lot of yellow bars here. If we had a failed buy, was the band short? Yeah, the band was bearish. Okay, I won't take the time right now, but that's very interesting. I'm going to take a look at that. Okay, it looks like we're getting our reaction. Yeah, Jim says he's finding that the yellow bar kind of tees it up for him. It's his clue to get ready that a signal will be printing. I like that. Okay, crude oil in a very interesting predicament. We'll come back here to the Falcon on crude. We're still trading down near these lows, right? We've got our double dot signal, which is our counter trend signal. It hasn't printed yet. But what's interesting, oh, there we go. We're starting to get that green bar. What's interesting is the buyers and the sellers have really tipped their hand to us. We know the sellers are trying to push the market down. We have a tall wick here, a long tail here. We know the buyers are coming back. It just depends who can take over now. Now, we haven't printed a fresh signal, but we really have this market cornered. We could do an OCO order here. Now remember, your OCO orders are live the moment you put them on your chart. So we could sell below there. And, well, actually I shouldn't do an OCO order because I haven't got the buy signal yet. But let's throw a sell in here. And if crude oil trades below these lows, gets below this median line, it's going to put some serious pressure on the lows down here. And we might see the buyers start to fold. And if the buyers do come back, then I'm going to take advantage of this double dot signal and look to buy. Now remember, we don't just buy and sell the double dot signals randomly. We want to, ideally, we want to be able to tie them in with something in the history of the chart so that we know what kind of reaction to expect. And we can see that last time the buyers were down here, they put in a pretty decent rally, right? The market did one of these. So here we are again. And it's just like buying gas at the pumps. You know, you're looking and you're saying, oh, gas is 48 or crude is 48 a barrel. That's a pretty good price. I bought it last time it was 48 a barrel. Okay, so here they go. They're giving it a try, trying to get below the lows. The buyers currently still holding their own. Okay, let's see if we can't knock them down a little more. Come on. There we go. Come on. Come on. So technically, we've already found our high probability target for the Falcon, which is normally $100. But because this is crude oil, I do have a tendency to double the profit objective. If you want a higher probability signal, then go for the higher probability $100 target for your Falcon. All right, that's enough for me to get this trade to break even. Come on, you guys. Oh, you're not going to let me hang for a tick. See, there's 190, where's 200? There, we had a little bit of a slip on our entry. Come on. Oh, look at that. They're kissing the number. Get down there. I'm going to roll above this candle right here, which has a little bit of a wick to it. I'm not I was going to say I'm not overly concerned about crude heading lower. My concern with crude always is that it's going to want to make a little hiccup higher before it actually heads lower. There we go. I was suspecting we would see 47.80. Crude does like even numbers. Well, it loves even numbers. So first numbers like 47, 48, 49, 50. Then it loves the halves. So 47.50, 48, 48.50, 49, 49.50. And lastly, it will gravitate toward the tens. So 47.80, 47.90, 48 even, 48.10, 48.20, and so on. So we broke the median line. We're down here now to primary support. And that's all right. It took a little chunk out of it. I'm okay with that. I could have split the order and left a runner in play because, hey, this is crude oil after all. Okay, so it looks like the NASDAQ gave us our best opportunity out of the open. Now they're consolidating a little. Not quite as strong as they were early on. You see our Falcon is changing over. Our Hawk is already into red bars. We're coming back here to the hard edge on the Eagle. So if I shoot a trend line, it's going to look something like that. I can put another trend line, something like this. So we did get an early trend change signal here in the Falcon. The difference between the early trend change signal and the regular trend change signal is the early trend change signal develops just as the trend line is changing color. So we did have a double dot here. Let's see if there's anything to tie it into back here in the history of the chart. Well, we kind of fudged these highs. I suppose we could look at these highs here as maybe a clue that there would be some sort of reaction here. But more than that, we did get our characteristic down, up, down pattern with the signal developing near the bottom of the pattern. The trend line just changed over. Let's see if we would have found our profit objective off this one. Yeah, look at that. We just hit our high probability profit target, and now it's starting to turn around some. So an opportunity for a short-term swing on the Falcon off of this little quickie trend change signal. We'll see if it develops into a full trend change signal, which it's working on now. The trend line has changed color. This is the leg that moves the trend line, changes it from green to red. Now we're going to see a reaction to that. And then we'll see whether or not the sellers can come back. And once again, we should see a signal print somewhere near these lows. See, we had a quick trend change signal to the upside right out of the open. And that had enormous follow through. Oops, did I just delete that? Oh, nuts. Wrong button. Okay, hold on. I need to build a new chart. All right, things are getting interesting again. Got a little bit too much space there. Oh, Michelle says crude is setting up for a Falcon signal. Let's take a look at crude oil on the Falcon. Okay, so this is the one that we sold right here. It had a nice decline. Crude's making its way back now to the trend line. So we might see a trend line touch here and possibly another signal to the downside. Okay, we'll keep an eye on that. All right, here's the NQ. Now, you see that we've been getting some, we did get a first micro-macro cross signal right here. This one, when it was printing, I don't think it was red yet. No, it wasn't. Our macro line was still gray. So technically, our first micro-macro crosses this signal right here, which actually developed in the same area. Let's see if we found our profit target there yet. Yeah, it did. It just hit our profit objective. And now it's, well, it's moving sideways. Oh, there they go. They're going to try to push it lower still. Obviously, we're up against the resistance that you see right here that I've highlighted. So the only thing that's significant about this is that this was a major push on the part of the sellers. The buyers overwhelmed them. They came back. Probably some profit taking going on here. Probably some sellers jumping on board. So now we're back at this level. So now we're going to see whether or not the buyers are keen to buy. And this should develop into a macro pullback signal. But you see we were getting a red bar buy signal off of the eagle here. And notice what we're lacking on the eagle. We don't have a test of the extreme yet, right? It's hard for this market to do a full reversal. It's difficult for the market just to fall off right here without first giving us a test of the extreme. So that's sort of what I'm on the lookout for. The Raptor also into the hard edge. The E-mini already giving us that macro pullback signal, but the E-mini, again, more bullish. Same thing here, though. We're looking for a test of the extreme, right? It's difficult to say we've had that test of the extreme. Now you can see the E-mini crazy expensive compared to the NASDAQ, and I need to adjust my profit target here because the E-mini trades at 12.50 a tick. Our profit objective actually looks more like that. Now let's see if I can find a little bit of a compromise here. All right, let's do it like this. The danger, of course, all right, let's see if we get a chance at a second push on this one. No, they're not going to give it to me. Doggone it. All right, let's see if we get it. You see, we're getting a little bit of a conflict in the E-mini also. Our hawk looking a little bit more bullish, but here comes our falcon looking a little more bearish, and we're coming back with a sell signal or possible sell signal on the falcon. Okay, so a little bit of selling pressure here. I'm not sure I would consider this a test to the extreme. You know, time will tell, but normally we see, you know, a real move, right? Remember what's going on here. The buyers have rallied the market right out of the open. The sellers, sure, the sellers came back, forced the market down a little bit. But after this great big rally out of the open, do you think this is the best that the buyers can do? No, I don't think so either. All right, well, we're going to put put this one on the shelf because I heard some other signals printing, and I am still watching okay. We do have an eagle signal printing here. And I would probably set it up like this. Actually, I'm going to try to, oh, I was going to try to sneak it in a little bit closer. All right, well, we'll take what we can get. So now we flipped over on the ATR. What I was looking to do is I was looking to take the tighter entry based on the trend line bounce. So I was hoping to get in a little bit earlier. So here is the Raptor now, the Hawk, giving us a green bar sell. This does look more like a proper test of the extreme, so you can see a little bit of a conflict in our signals now. Love to see a red bar buy show up right here. All right, so the E-mini did find our profit target on the Hawk off of this macro pullback signal. Now they're waffling a little bit. Okay, the E-mini pressing a little bit more. Let's get back to this Falcon trade. The signal actually printed right here. We can dial down the risk a little bit on this one. So once again, this is a second push entry opportunity. We have had the test of the extreme. We have this characteristic down, up, down pattern. The signal actually printed right here. I know it's hard to see because of the support and resistance line. But we do have a chance on a second push on the entry. I'm not really keen on selling into this market because, well, the early rally, right? The market is bullish today. Oh, let's scrub this and let's get over to crude oil. Oh, all right. Well, look at this first. It looks like I missed the hawk trade in crude. So here we are. We're getting yes. Okay. So thank you very much, Ninja, for the reminder. Okay, working on a possible early trend change signal here. We can see we're starting to make the higher swings. Higher swing lows, I should say. All right, so here they come. Now the nice thing about these early signals is that normally you can cover them below the swing low or the swing high, whatever the case may be. The downside is it's definitely a counter trend signal. Now, I think we could see the market rally, well, certainly up here to 48.10. I think that's a very reasonable target. What concerns me a little bit about this is it has the shape of a bear flag. So I don't think I'm actually going to take this one, but if you're feeling a little bit more aggressive on the market, that is an early trend change signal, and that's how I would set it up. So I'm anticipating the hash mark to print here. It's going to be right near the high, so for a couple of ticks, I'll enter on the other side of the high. You could just go with your high probability target, just go for 10 ticks. Crude will probably give you that. All right, well, here, let's see how that works out. Suncom is saying crude printed a short again. Now, I think you're referring to this signal right here. And yes, it did. The signal did not trip. And there's no denying we're in a downtrend. However, notice our trend line has changed color. Our trend line is green. We're getting warning dots, but no signal just yet. This is an early trend change signal because the trend line has just changed, but we do have the up, down, up pattern. And the signal should print right near the top of this little itty-bitty swing high. the advanced decline very lopsided. Jim says there's 2,300 buyers, only 550 sellers. So what's that, about 1,750, 1,800 to the good? So that's a fairly strong advanced decline ratio. All right, let's put that on the shelf. How's my NASDAQ trade doing? Oh, well, we're holding our own. Roll up my stop below this bar here with the long tail. If this bar finishes green, I'm probably going to get a little bit more aggressive with my stop. Maybe go with the bar high-low or something. Come on, get up there. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to press it now. Jim says the banking index is losing its momentum and the Russell is looking a little bit weak. Yeah, the E-mini's kind of drifting sideways also after that substantial rally. Come on, NQ. Here, sometimes you gotta push it up with the mouse. That helps. Give it a little bit of a tickle. There we go. Come on, get up there. Come on. A little bit higher. What I'm thinking is that maybe I should be honoring the trend line a little bit more. Because obviously there's buyers looking at the trend line, right? They bought it here, they bought it here, they bought it here, here, and here. I'm fairly confident the market's going to head higher today. It's just, where do I want to risk it to? How much am I prepared to leave on the table? And people often ask me, does it bother you when the market is slow like this? Because I know Ray Burke, he was always looking for immediate momentum, which is a good thing. You know, that's how Ray is. He wants to see the market respond immediately, and if it doesn't, well, he wants to pack up his toys and go home. And there's nothing wrong with that. But for me, I tend just to let the trade run its course. Okay, here's crude oil. Interesting little development. We have another macro pullback signal. So while we were looking at a possible buy on the Falcon reversal, here we're getting a sell on crude oil. It's also working into a 3-arrow consolidation, which we know tends to be a fairly reliable signal for crude. And look at this. We can even dial down the risk somewhat on this order. Come on. There we go. So we have crude kind of between a rock and a hard place, so to speak. Now, I've drawn the trend line in here. You can see the better entry would be below the trend line, but look at how much I have to offer up to get that entry. Kind of eyeballing how these bars would form. I'd have to enter probably right about there, and you can see we're at least halfway to my profit objective. So when this type of situation develops, I'll take the earlier entry because, well, logistically speaking, it's not worth giving up half my profit objective just to gain entry on the trade. And remember, we have doubled the profit targets here. If you want to go with the higher probability profit target and just scalp in and out for 50 bucks, you're almost guaranteed that crude will give you that. Okay, now we're working a yellow bar, so we might be nixing this trade in a moment. If we trade above these highs, that's going to engage our Falcon order. Remember our early trend change signal that we were watching? It's still trying to sort itself out. Oh, there we go. Okay, so I better cancel this order. We're working on a green bar sell. That's encouraging. That's telling me that the market might be getting a little stronger. And as crude gets a little bit closer to the profit target here, I'll probably get the trade to break even. I don't want to roll it to break even just yet because remember, even though we have the early trend change signal here, we are still going to get the proper trend change signal. So the trend line, this is the move that has changed the trend line color. We need to expect that the market is going to react to that. And then the buyers will once again come back if in fact the buyers still have control of this market. It's unknown at the moment. They did break this little swing high. We'll see if they can follow through on that. And here too, you could use the trend line if you wanted to take some of the risk out of the trade. But fundamentally speaking, the strongest stop placement is right here, right below the lows. Because obviously if crude reverses now and gets down through these lows, well, then we are obviously on the wrong side of this trade. But we'll see. We'll see if this gives us an opportunity to try to get this trade at least into a break-even situation. And the NQ plotting a little bit here. What do we got on the table? $50 in profit and $45 in risk. You know, this could shape into a test of the extreme now. That's entirely possible. If this current bar finishes green, I'll probably bring the trade to break even. If I was able to gain the earlier entry, which I was looking at right here, I could already have the trade to a near break-even situation. which is one of the reasons I was looking to try to take advantage of that. Well, you can see we're trading near the opening range highs, which may prove to be problematic. Really? If I shoot off of the lows, that's where it's going to go to? Interesting that the Raptor and the Eagle, slightly different look on the trend line there. No, they're going to tag me here in a moment. Okay, buyers, you'd better show up, because this is all you're going to get. Okay, well, that's all right. We took a little bit of a spank there, so it still kept the risk down. So once again, I'm going to make a note. Should I have taken my lumps there, or should I have left my stop down here? Gone with maybe an ATR type strategy. I have a bad feeling that this time I got tagged early. Michelle is asking, would you be keen to take this NQ signal? Yeah, thanks for pointing that out, Michelle. And she's asking, or is it waffling too much? When I see a proper signal print, I always feel like I need to do something with it. So here we have, well, essentially it's a trend change signal, isn't it? Our trend line went from red to green, whether you count it from here or from here. We've got our up, down, up pattern. This is a signal I should be taking, but we are trading near the highs, right? So there's some issues to be had here. So what will I do? Well, first off, I'm probably going to dial down the risk amount. Secondly, I'm because the entry is right here and the high is only a tick further, I'm probably going to take it above the high. And I have the luxury now of the second push entry. You see how that bar is retreating. And I'm probably going to try to run a deep stop. So if all this looks palatable for me, then I'll submit the order. And it does. But the point is that when you get a proper signal, when you're getting a high probability signal, so that would be a first micro-macro cross or a macro pullback in the hawk, a trend change signal or a late filter entry on the falcon, a red bar buy, green bar sell in the eagle. Those are signals that you need to do something with. A double pullback signal in the raptor. See, we had a double pullback here. I missed it this morning. Here's the double pullback signal, and here's the signal triggered right there. These are signals that demand your attention. These are the high probability signals that I'm always harping on you about. So when you get these kinds of signals, you need to do something with them. Now, you can always pass on them, but it's a high probability signal, so you should try to take advantage of them. But honestly, here on the Falcon, we're trading back into the highs, and yes, the market is waffling, but it is a high probability signal, so I need to do something. So I try to take steps to protect myself, dial down the risk, run a deeper stop, wait for a second push entry or enter above the high. All these types of things will help keep me on the right side of the trade. Now, of course, the market has fallen off here, so I can cancel the order. But no, that was an excellent observation, Michelle. I'm glad you pointed that out because I was looking elsewhere. So here comes this trend line again. And we'll see if they're, actually I'm going to shoot two trend lines. And all I'm doing is I'm basing it on this low and this low right here. There's no secret to trend lines. There's nothing magical about a trend line. I just like them because it helps me see what other traders are seeing. I'm not the only one doing this. Even though this seems like a video game, it's not. You're not playing against the machine. You're playing against thousands of other traders. And thousands of other traders think they're right also. They don't know yet that they're wrong. So having a trend line on the chart, for me, helps me see where the buyers might be buying, where the sellers might be selling, because, hey, let's face it, that's where they buy and where they sell. So like I said, there's nothing magical about it. It's not written in stone or anything like that. But if the market comes down here now and say we see some reaction around 43.18, then that tells me that, yeah, okay, there's some active buyers here. They're getting keen to buy the trend line. They're watching this trend line. So they're buying the bounce. My trend line will be red already. So guess what? If the bounce comes up like this and it's short-lived and it comes back with a sell signal right here, what am I doing? I'm all over selling this, right? I would be in here. I would cover wherever I could, maybe above the peak of the trend line. I would be all over selling that. To me, that would be a high probability sell, and it's also backed by our trend change signal. Our trend line will have changed color. We will have the down, up, down pattern, and I'll have a pretty good idea where the buyers are camped out, and if the sellers can force their way below where the buyers have dug in, well then I think I would like to be a seller. Now, unfortunately, sometimes we have to wait for these things. And even though you have an idea where the market might be going, you could jump on early, of course. It's your money. You can do whatever you want. But for me, I'd rather let it set up, have all my ducks in a row, and then get on board. Okay, so you see it's not quite 43.18, but we're getting a little bit of a reaction here. We'll see if there's some follow through with that. Okay, they're taking their time. You see, they don't realize yet what they have to do. Okay, so we're getting our warning dot. See? they just they just didn't know it. Oh, I'm sorry. There's just not a whole lot going on right now, folks. We have to amuse ourselves how we can. Okay, so here it looks like, for the moment anyways, well, my tighter stop took me out. A trend line stop would have failed also, but the ATR stop still holding me in, and we're coming back with a red bar buy. Hmm. Oops. Okay, so you can see all this sideways action. We're getting a lot of yellow bars going on here on the hawk. Filter starting to break up. It does look like the market is in a bit of a trading range right now. The E-mini not doing much either. Crude oil, a little bit sideways. Not much going on in the grain markets. I don't know, it's just kind of gone flat all of a sudden. Well, we'll just wait and see if they turn around now and reject what we were watching here on the Falcon. We've had our trend change signal. We have the down, we have the up. We're waiting for the down to develop. And we're actually getting a red bar buy here on the Eagle. So let's see. Well, there's the ATR. And you can draw trend lines both ways, right? You can draw trend lines across the highs as well as below the lows. See if we get a second push on this entry or not. I hate to enter it right here. You see the ATR is going to be right near that bearish trend line. That's a heck of a spot to get into this trade. If I took it above this high, okay, so we do have a second push on this entry. What I'm thinking is, if I got in here, could I do anything with my stops before the market potentially reversed on me? See, some people will be looking at this and will be saying, oh, the market's starting to make a little bit of a pennant style formation, which it very well might be doing. Okay, I'm going to throw that order in. This is again one of these situations where we have a higher probability signal that we need to address. It's decision time for us. We need to do something with this. The E-mini is back at the daily highs. And the NQ still waffling. Here we go. Okay, here comes our Falcon. Trying. We're getting our, had a warning dot there for a moment. There we go. All right. And now we're actually producing the signal early. Look at that. Now this is a late filter entry. Again, it's not the best setup that we would normally see because, well, this market is kind of going sideways. It is a high probability signal. Actually, I'm going to see if I can cover this further back. What if I take it just below this current low and cover it above the high? There we go. That's going to give me a whole lot more staying power. And even though this market is still moving sideways, still undecided, it does give us an opportunity at a fairly reliable signal. Now let me see. No, the eagle not printing that red bar yet. If this red bar prints here, I'm going to scrub the eagle trade. So we really have this market cornered right now. Conflicting signals, the eagle looking more bullish, the falcon looking more bearish. Out of these two trades, I kind of prefer the falcon trade. Okay, so we've filled to the short side. I'm going to cancel the eagle trade. And now let's watch the action here in the falcon. The big deal, of course, is going to be this trend line. These recent lows. So we know there's trend line buyers here, some buyers here, some buyers here when the trend line was a little bit steeper. They're going to give us some sort of reaction around 43.20, which is obviously a support zone. Right? It's not. You have to remember when you're dealing with support and resistance, these things act more like zones than exact price levels. All right, so there's the buying, no real surprise. We know we have a support zone of selling up here. Right? That's why we have our stop where we do. And I'll be able to stay in the room for a few more minutes, then I'm going to have to button up the room for today. We will be getting back again tomorrow for our Friday session. Oh, fantastic. Suncom says he picked up 10 ticks so far on the crude oil Falcon trade, and he's got a runner in play. Fantastic. Let's take a look at that. Crude oil on the Falcon. Yes, very good. Had the trend change signal here to the downside. I'm assuming that's the one that you took, so you got in there. Covered up there, very nice. You can see this little formation here looked like a little bit of a bear flag. So the market emerged out of there. Very good. Well done. It pleases me very much to know that you guys are getting it, that you're getting comfortable with your tools, learning how to use them, picking up signals. It would please me even more if the NQ would get to it and start heading lower. Oh my gosh. Oh, the trading equivalent of watching paint dry. And it's only March. If this were August, I wouldn't complain. Okay, you guys, if you are trading this afternoon, well, we have this sideways range that we're stuck in. Here, I'll go to the hawk. It's a little bit more obvious because of all these yellow bars. So we have this rather substantial sideways trading range. You could peg it like this. You know what? I would probably even take it to the high. Until we get outside of this range, we're going to be kind of limited to our trading opportunities, I think. So try not to get too excited when you see something printing. You could also shoot yourself a couple of trend lines like so. You can see we're in a little bit of a wedging type pattern. Which way will it break? Well, if I had to choose, I would say we're going to break higher today, just because of the early rally. Right? We saw this early run up right out of the open, which suggests to me that the market is a little bit more bullish today rather than bearish. But yeah, definitely a wedgie type pattern coming in. Michelle is asking if I could take a look at gold on the Falcon. Absolutely, Michelle. Let's do that. Give me a second here to pull up the gold chart. You're probably waiting on some sort of motivation. Traders seem fairly content where they're at for the moment. Okay, so here's gold on the Falcon. All right, we had our trend change signal back here. Here's the late filter entry signal. I think this is the one Michelle must be looking at. And same thing, we had a little bit of a bear flag type scenario. So our entry, here I'll roll this over. So the late filter entry, the big deal about the late filter entry is that the filter goes out of sync, the trend line does not. This tends to be a very reliable signal. It's broken down out of this little bear flag arrangement, which I like, and it gives me the opportunity to cover above this triple little swing high here. You see the market hit this price level at 1154 3 times and then headed lower. So very attractive looking trade for the moment. I know gold is annoying, isn't it? They've always got to swap bars like this. It's maddening. There's a couple things, if you're currently short here, Michelle, there's a couple of things you could do. Your stop, if you're using the ATR strategy, would be here already. If you wanted to be more aggressive with the stop, you do have this bar right here. This guy right here with a bit of a wick to it showed you some buying going in and then the sellers knocking them down. So if you wanted a tighter stop, that would be the one that I would take. But risk-wise, it doesn't look bad. It looks like the whole position was only around $200. So your ATRs probably got you at about $150 per contract in open risk, which is not or shouldn't be a crippling amount for you. But yeah, good signal, Michelle. Good eye. I think that's going to work out for you. You're just going to have to bear with it until they get around to seeing things your way. Okay, you guys, I will catch up with you again tomorrow. And yeah, good luck if you're trading this afternoon. Things might actually shake up a little bit because it has been so darn quiet for most of the morning. All right, talk to you tomorrow. Bye for now.